yo, RX back with another breakdown of UFC Vegas 95 Tybura versus Spivak 2. We back with another breakdown of a card that is shit. A card. It's terrible, to be honest. Like, in the simplest way I could put it. Like, if the main event's anything to go off of, it's like, this card's terrible. We're back in the Apex, which is already a dud. The card sucks. It's only 10 fights. We're coming off a fucking streak of bad cards, so this is just gonna add on to it. It's just not very good. Very underwhelming. Not even underwhelming, just a shittily made card. Like, I get a lot of fights have been cancelled, but you still don't got a fucking good card. The main event was never cancelled. This has been it the whole time. So, it's like, come the fuck on, man. You're giving us nothing. You're literally making us watch garbage. There's maybe 4 good fights, and that's being generous with that number. Yeah, maybe not even 4, maybe 3. Like, this card's just not good. It's the simplest way I could put it. The card's not good. It's in the Apex. The main event sucks. Most of the fights suck. Yeah, it's your atypical Apex card, but we're gonna watch it anyway, aren't we? So, well, what does complaining about it do? Clearly nothing, if this here has anything to show for it, so let's just get into this. Before I do, please like, comment, subscribe. 100 subs goal by the end of 2024, and, unless I'm beginning to say something, which I don't think I am, let's get into this shit, I guess. Only 10 fights, it shouldn't be that long of a breakdown, I say, knowing this is probably going to be an hour, so enough rambling, let's get into this shit. 10 fights, 4 prelims, or 5 prelims, whatever the order is at this point, no one fucking knows. Let's get right into it. Let's get right into it with our main card. For our prelim opener, first fight of the night, we head to women's strawweight for a rematch from the Contender Series, as we begin the night with Stephanie Rondina Luciano versus Talita Problem Child Alencar. Like I said, this is a rematch from the Contender Series last year. I'll talk about that in a second. But, yeah, is it a good fight to be in the card? No, not really. If to go off their first fight, and is this a replacement fight? No. I didn't know if someone stepped in for somebody, but no, this is just the fight they booked. So, maybe it could be a good fight. Their Contender Series fight was watchable, but definitely not a great fight, and probably gonna go a lot the same as their Contender Series fight. So let's get right into it, and we'll talk about first the debuting to begin the night, Stephanie Luciano. Stephanie, of course, like I said, made her UFC debut, coming off Contender Series where she had a draw with said Alencar. She got robbed in that fight, to be honest. She should have won it. I don't know what the judges watched. She clearly won the fight. But they did a draw, but Dana still gave her a contract, as deserved, because she did look good in that fight. And now that led to her finally opening up that contract a year later after getting some canceled fights throughout this year. So, some bad luck, but she is going to finally step on that canvas and see what happens. Not very much else to say. She's a decent striker. Is she a great fighter? Not really, but she's young, 24 years old, barely any fights. This is only her 8th career fight, so she's young, still a very green as a fighter, but she's not terrible, and we'll see what happens there. Let's see if she can get revenge for, like I said, pretty much getting robbed in her Contender Series fight. To talk about her opponent, Alencar. Alencar in the UFC is 0-1, coming out Contender Series, where she did not get a contract, I don't believe. I think she stepped in on short notice for somebody. Yeah. She stepped in on short notice to fight Amanda, where she got handed a robbery. It was complete fucking robbery, so 0-1 in the UFC. Seemed like the judges really like handing robberies to Alencar. She should have lost on Contender Series. She lost to Amanda. So, now that's 2 robberies and back-to-back fights. Will she make it 3? I can't really say much about Alencar. She's terrible. She's honestly a terrible fighter. All she can do is her grappling. She has no cardio, no striking. Like, she's like, she's like Paul Craig. Yeah, she kind of reminds me of Paul Craig. She has no striking ability, no cardio, which is even a downside from Paul Craig, because at least he has kind of cardio. She can't really throw a punch. She can't take a punch. She's terrible. She's a fucking grappler who's doing MMA for some reason, even though she can't fucking do MMA. She's just grappling. She's not even good at that. She can't even fucking get to the ground. So, she's a terrible fighter, and it's actually amazing that she's in the UFC of how awful she is. So, like, again, her grappling's decent. Like, I'm guessing. I've not really seen her use her grappling to a high extent in the 2 fights I've watched of her. I watched her get beat up in her last 2 fights, because her fights usually come down to her doing okay early, gassing out, and then just shooting takedowns all fight. So, exactly what happened in the first fight of Luciano. So, Alencar is just terrible. It's the simplest way I can put it. She's short. She's 5'1", she's not good, no cardio, no heart. She's terrible. She's honestly terrible, and she's gonna get beat up by Luciano again. So, that'll be fun to watch at least. There's not really much else I can say. The last thing I'll get to before I get to the betting odds and my picks is talk about their first fight in Contender Series. It pretty much went how I described it a second ago. Alencar looks okay for a couple minutes, then she gasses pretty badly, and she just gets beat up the rest of the fight. I don't know how the fuck the judges made it a draw. Luciano clearly won this fight, since all Alencar did was shoot takedowns for 3 rounds, never threw a fucking punch, got beat up, and just looked like a pathetic excuse for a fighter. So, yeah, it's probably like, if in a year do I think Luciano has got good enough to where this won't happen again? No. Like, if her fucking last fight has anything to show for it, no. So, it's just not a good fighter. Let's see, what are the betting odds here? Okay, that's interesting. To get to the betting odds for the rematch, we have Stephanie Luciano at -170 to +140. I completely agree. You could have her up to -300 after a while. It's actually funny that the betting odds were so different, with Alencar being -240 going into it, which I predicted Luciano to win. Thank you. Yes, that was a complete guess. But now Luciano is a favorite, should be a bigger favorite, because she is the way better fighter. We saw that in her first fight, and we've just seen that as they fight. So, yeah, Luciano could be a way bigger favorite, and I'm going Stephanie Luciano again. The same. I picked her in the first fight. I'm picking her in the second fight. She's the better fighter. Again, I can't. What the fuck are people watching? Okay, well, it's gonna be pretty easy to win Tapology this week if they have this amount of stupid picks. Luciano should win this easily. Do the same thing you did in the first fight, if not even better. You've had a year to fucking get better. You've already fought you already fought Alencar. You're the better fighter than her already. This should be easy. So, give me Stephanie Luciano by decision. Same pick I had in their first fight. I got it right then. I'm going to get it right now. Stephanie Luciano by decision. She might lose round 1. She'll easily win 2 and 3, because Alencar will be tired just shooting shitty takedowns. And Stephanie Luciano will get her win that she should have got a year ago. So, give me Luciano by decision. Alencar is a pathetic excuse for a fighter. And, yeah. Not a great way to begin the night. Probably won't be a great fight, to be honest, but it's what it is. After that, we had to our second fight of the night in the featherweight division. We have a fight between, I would say, almost 2 cans like that. They're pretty close to being can versus can. As in our second fight of the night, we had the featherweight 4, Jarno Errens versus the Moroccan Devil, Youssef Zalal. This is not a high-level fight in the slightest. Both these guys suck. Like, this fight, it comes down to who sucks less. And I don't think that's hard of a prediction to make, but neither are good. Like, neither are fucking good. Maybe it'll be a fun fight. That's the only thing you can hope for with this fight, because again, they are terrible fighters. Hopefully the fight's decent. If they overperform and actually have a good fight. We've seen a few times lately bad fighters have weirdly good fights, so we'll see if it happens again. Two bad fighters can have a banger. We'll see. But let's start this fight talking about Jarno Errens. Jarno in the UFC is 1-2. His one win is against Steve Niju, however you fucking say that. And his two losses are William Gomez and Sungwoo Choi. He's not a good fighter. Like, his way of fighting is just brawl. And that worked against, that worked in his last fight because Nijan's a pretty bad fighter, and he accepted that fight with Errens. But in his other two fights, when he's fighting someone a little more technically sound than him, or just a better fighter in general, he got kind of exposed. William Gomez just took him down and destroyed him for 3 rounds. Sungwoo Choi is just a more technical striker and a better striker, so we saw that. And he was able to hold him down as well at times. So Jarno's just not good when the fight gets technical. He wants to bite down the mouthpiece and swing, which I respect. But that not every fighter is going to do that with you, as we've, like, again, look at his 2 L's. He has no ground game. His chin's alright, his cardio's not amazing. He has good heart, I'll give him that. He has a good heart. He's not going to be easy to put away. But he's just not a great fighter, especially when it gets technical, and unlucky for him, he's fighting a guy who's probably not going to fight his fight. He's probably going to fight more a technical battle, which is just not Jarno's style. So maybe Jarno can show some new levels in his game after getting his first UFC win earlier in the year, and one of the best fights of the year. But I'm not going to hold my breath on that, so we'll see. We'll see. We know what we're getting with Jarno at this point in his career in the UFC. 3 fights in, I think we know. We're just getting a guy who's not technically sound and more just a brawler, which I respect brawlers, trust me. I would rather see a good fight than a technical fight. But, yeah, he's just not very talented. To talk about his opponent, Youssef Zalal. Zalal in the UFC is 4-3-1. In his first UFC run, his wins were Austin Lingo, Jordan Griffin, and Peter Barrett. His losses were Ilya Topuria, Sungwoo Choi, and Sean Woodson, and he had a draw with Damon Blackshear that sent him out to UFC. A couple fights later, he went 5-0 on the regional scene. He comes back on short notice and against Billy Kuhn. He looked good. He destroyed Billy, kind of outclassed him, and that was that. He's now back in the UFC, got to win his first finish in the UFC, and maybe this is a new Youssef Zalal. I doubt it, because I don't think he's a good fighter, but you never know. Zalal, a very boring fighter. Again, he's very technical. He wants to get you to the ground, fight slow. He doesn't have his gas tank's alright, so he can more fight this way. He doesn't have power in his hands. He's just kind of a forgettable fighter. Like in his first UFC run, we saw when he fought good fighters, he looked terrible. Like against Ilya and Choi, and even Damon Blackshear should have beat him if he didn't gas out. But like he can beat these bad fighters, and then Billy Q's just kind of old. So an off night, very old Billy Q. What do you really expect? So Zalal, we're getting a guy who's literally the worst fighter for Errens to fight. A technical, slow fighter who's gonna not want to brawl. So it's kind of everything I said Errens sucks at is Youssef Zalal. So that's kind of funny. Yeah, not very much good to say about Youssef. Not very much to say. I don't know, for some reason, every time I see him now, I just think of when he was in the crowd with Macy Barber. That's more memorable than any of his fucking fights. So, whatever. He's just boring and not good. The betting odds first, I have Youssef Zalal -350 to +260. I think he's up to like -400 by now. I think I looked earlier, I swear he's up to -400. I don't get it. I would have Youssef probably -250, I think sounds right. Yeah, I probably think minus 250 to plus 200. I think he's a better fighter than Errens when it comes to all facets of MMA. On the feet, I think Errens is better, but and power-wise, I definitely give it to Errens. But then you got striking technique, Zalal, ground game, Zalal, gas tank, Zalal. I just think Zalal's a better fighter. Comes from a good gym, Factory X. Him and Chris Gutierrez both on the card. He should win. My pick here is, I think, for the first time I've ever picked him, or the first time in a long time, going to Youssef Zalal. I think he's a better fighter, more technical, and I think he'll just be able to do the same thing that William Gomez did and just beat him on the feet, beat him on the ground, on a way to a boring decision. So, give me Youssef Zalal by decision. Probably not going to be exciting. Maybe a finish late in the fight when like Errens is super tired, but you never know. So I'm gonna go with Zalal by decision. He's a decision machine. He's boring, and yeah, not very much else to say. First time picking Youssef Zalal in years, so give me Zalal by decision. After that, we have to our third fight of the night, heading to heavyweight for the first time tonight, as we have a fight that could either be really cool and a really nice highlight, or really boring and probably likely. And then our third fight of the night in the heavyweight division, we have Karl Williams versus Jhonata Diniz. Wrestler versus striker here, so that's always an interesting dynamic. One of the most classic matchups in MMA, probably maybe the most classic matchup in MMA history. Yeah, I think we know which is which. I'll still break down each fighter. Hopefully the striker can do what he can do, because if not, we have another boring fight on our hands. Oh boy. Let's talk about Karl Williams. Karl in the UFC is 3-0. He's only had 3 fights. Coming out Contender Series, and his 3 UFC wins, he has beat Lucas Bresky, Chase Sherman, and Justin Tafa. The Bresky and Tafa fight were pretty much what you expected. For some reason, he had a weirdly close fight with Chase Sherman. For some reason, Sherman really took it to him, and you could have gave Sherman that fight if I remember. But then he fights against the best fighter he's fought in his career so far, in Justin Tafa. He looked amazing and just wrestled Tafa round in, round out. So I don't know what the fuck got in Chase Sherman's fucking water that day, but for some reason he gave Karl a hard fight. But outside of that, his other 2 UFC fights have just been domination. He dominated Lucas Bresky from pillar to post. He dominated Justin Tafa from bell to bell. He's so one-dimensional, but heavyweight is so shit that it's actually working. All he's doing is taking these guys down, holding them down for the round, and since heavyweight, again, is so ass, it's working. He also is getting guys with no ground game. Fucking Lucas Bresky dominated on the ground easily. Justin Tafa, known for not knowing what the fuck he's doing on the ground. So they have no cardio, no get-up game, and they're just getting wrestle-fucked by Williams. Is it exciting? No, because he's not even a ground-and-pound guy. He's more of a hold-you-down and keep-you-there guy. But it's worked, man. It's worked, and heavyweight is so ass. Am I shocked it's working? No, because, again, there's no talent at heavyweight unless your name's Tom Aspinall. So, just, one-dimensional, and it works. It's fucking insane if you think about it. So I can't even remember Williams even striking that much. The only fight I can remember him throwing strikes in the Sherman fight, and he looked terrible. So we'll see if eventually he'll have to actually strike and maybe even lose. So yeah. To talk about his opponent, Jhonata Diniz. Diniz in the UFC is 1-0, coming off Contender Series. In his UFC debut, he fought Austin Lane. And yeah, I get it. Most of us remember the cool knockout, yada yada yada. But I feel like we gotta remember that happened round 2. Round 1 was him getting mauled on the ground for 5 minutes, which is a very bad sign with who he's fighting. He had, in that fight with Lane, yeah, he got a nice knockout in the second round, but in that first round, Lane kept him down and easily for 5 minutes. He had, Diniz showed no get-up game, no takedown defense. pretty much just looked like a fish out of water the second the fight left the easy striking positions. So again, with who he's fighting, a way better ground fighter than Austin Lane, this could be really bad and really boring for Jhonata, which I don't even get this matchmaking by the UFC, because I don't know why they're fucking giving Diniz such a mismatch of such a bad matchup for him stylistic wise after his debut. Like, Jhonata's a dude who could have a couple nice highlight reel knockouts against some cans, and you're giving him a guy who's gonna be a real pain in the ass for him to beat, if he even beats him. I'm not really sure what the UFC's doing with that booking, but maybe they see something we don't. So, guess we're gonna find the fuck out. Diniz, let's see, how long ago was that Lane fight? 4 months ago. You better learn how to fucking stop a takedown and get up if not, so. The betting odds for this fight have Karl Williams minus 225 to plus 185. Yeah, you could have Williams. I would say minus 250 again. He should win this fight. Like, it's simple as this. If Diniz has not got better as a fighter on the ground, then he's going to get 30-27. But if he has improved on the ground, then if he has improved enough to where he can keep it on the feet, he's probably gonna knock out Karl Williams. It's like I said, it's just weird matchmaking by the UFC to give this undefeated, hyped up heavyweight who, yeah, we know probably ain't gonna go far in the UFC, but like in a second fight, such a hard matchup. Like fucking Das Page got an easier fight in the second UFC fight, and he's terrible. Like at least he got a fucking striker who just had decided to wrestle. They gave Diniz a full-blown wrestler, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, if going off that Austin Lane fight, if you're getting controlled by Austin Lane on the ground, I have a strong feeling this fighting Karl Williams might not go good for you. So my pick here is going to be Karl Williams. I think one of the easiest picks on the card, unless you have faith in Diniz getting better on the ground. If you think he's got better on the ground to the extent where he can either A, stop takedowns, or B, get up from them, then sure, go at it. But then I think another factor, he's going to tire out real quickly. I don't think his gas tank is the strongest. Karl Williams' gas tank ain't the strongest, but I think it's better. I just, trust me, I want to see a Diniz knockout because it would be more exciting. But do I think that's going to happen? No, I really don't. Unless he times a knee perfectly or an uppercut, Derek Lewis, Curtis Blade style, I just don't see it happening though. So I'm going to go Karl Williams by decision. A finish is possible but unlikely. Just go safe. Probably a 30-27 Williams. Very boring, but UFC booked it. UFC saw something we don't here maybe. But I think they're going to see the same thing we do, and that's a Karl Williams boring decision. So give me Karl Williams by decision in a very boring fight. After that, we head to our fourth fight of the night in the women's bantamweight division. The first fight on the card where I think you can actually say this might be pretty good. As in our fourth fight of the night, again heading to women's bantamweight for the first time tonight of 2 fights. And this one, again, this could be pretty good. As we have Karol, Rosa versus Pannie, Banzai, Kianzad. This fight could be really good. I know I keep saying it, but this could easily be fight of the night. This, we all know Karol Rosa's last fight. Pannie Kianzad can have fun fights. This could be entertaining. I'm very excited for this fight. It's gonna be a fun one, so let's get the first good fight of the night. I know it's fucking amazing. It only took 4 fights, so. And this is probably gonna be the first fight that's mainly on the feet, so that's another fucking plus. So let's start the breakdown with Karol Rosa. Rosa in UFC is 6-3. Her wins are Lara Frintz, Vanessa Mello, Jocelyn Edwards, Betch Kohea, Lena Landsberg, and Yana Santos. Her losses are Sarah McMahon, Norma Dumont, and Irene Aldana. Rosa is a decent fighter. She's not great. She's never going to be a top tier fighter in the women's bantamweight division, which I guess says a lot. But she's good. She's a perfect, top, 10 through 5, 10 through 6, and that's where she's been most of her career. A good 10 through 6 fighter. She's gonna win a couple of fights against the lower in the division like Yana and Lena. But when she fights Irene and Norma, she's gonna lose. She's gonna have good fights, and she's gonna put up a fight. We all know the Irene Aldana fight, one of the best fights of last year. If you wanted to call it fight of the year, I don't think you're insane. Her and Norma Dumont was probably the best fight on that card, if I remember. So she can have these fun fights, but she's not really been able to get that statement win. Like, her best win in the UFC is probably Yana Santos, for fuck's sake, who's on this card and we know sucks. So, or Lena fucking Landberg, who's like 50 by that point. So, like, Host is a good fighter. She's a well-rounded fighter. She can strike, she can grapple, cardio's alright. She's a tough fighter. We saw that in her last one. She's exciting. Don't really got the power, but again, she's exciting. And like that, she's a decent fighter. So, one of the rare fighters you can say that about at women's bantamweight, since like everyone almost sucks. So she's decent. She is still young. She's only 29. Who knows if she can get better? Even if she stays at this level for the rest of her career, that's still a decent fighter for a couple more years. So let's see how she bounces back after a fight of the year contender for Irene. In a fight she's kind of fighting a dollar store Irene, the more I think about it, so see how it goes. To talk about her opponent, Pannie Kianzad. Pannie in the UFC is 5-5. Sounds about right. Her 5 wins are not even. Oh no, that's not even the UFC. So she got cut after this. Her wins in the UFC are Jessica Rose Clark, Betch Correas, Jara Eubanks, Alexis Davis, and Alina Landsberg. Her losses are Macy Chasson, Julia Aguilera, Raquel Pennington, Ketlin Veda, and Macy Chasson. Pannie is a fighter who I thought had a lot of potential, but she's just been so disappointing these last couple years. Like, ever since the Davis fight, she's looked pretty against Raquel Pennington. I thought she won that fight, so it wasn't her best performance. Against Lena Landsberg, that was a fun fight, but definitely a lot closer than it should have been. Against Ketlin Veda, she got dominated. Against Macy Chasson, she got annihilated. She's just been underwhelming in the UFC for someone who I think has talent, just not being able to put it together. Like we saw in that 4-5 winning streak, she had a lot of good moments. She looked great against Correia, against Eubanks, but then for some reason, ever since that Davis fight, ever since then, just been kind of Now she's on a 2-fight skid, 2-5 in her last, 2-3 in her last 5, a loss here, and she could easily get cut. She's just been disappointing. Simple as that. She has talent. She's only 32 years old. She's fighting more consistently, which is another thing that's definitely been a problem in her career. But she's just, I don't know. She's just not being able to put it together. And she really needs a win here against a matchup who is not really very favorable for someone on a 2-fight skid. And I just don't know if she's going to be able to put it together here against someone who's kind of the better version of her to an extent. So let's see what happens. Simplest thing I can say. I've never picked against Pannie because I do think she's good, but she's kind of continuously proved me wrong, or like lately at least. So, like, I get, if you want to say Pennington, Ketlin, and Macy are not bad losses, sure, I'm not gonna disagree with you completely with 2 of them. They are the top 5 of the division, but she's just not being able to make that fucking jump up into the higher echelon when she has the talent too, in my opinion. So maybe this will be the fight she finally does it. I don't know, and I highly doubt it. But you never know. Never know, man. I mean, you never know. The betting odds first, so I have Karol Rosa minus 175 to plus 150. I would have Rosa minus 190. I don't think she'd be minus 200, but you can have her close to that. I just think she's a better version of Pannie. I think she's better than Pannie in pretty much all facets. She's on the feet, I think she's a little more technical and a little better of a striker. On the ground, she's way better. Cardio-wise, I think she might be better. I just think she's a better fighter than Pannie. Not like from what I've seen from Pannie lately, I just like if we see the Pannie we've seen lately against Rosa here, it's gonna be an easy win for Karol Rosa. But if we see the Pannie we saw against Lena Landsberg or on that winning streak, then we're in for an interesting fight. We could really be in for a fight of the night. But do I think we're gonna get that Pannie? I don't think so. It's just really hard to trust Pannie to show up and be her best when she hasn't done that since fucking 2 years ago. And even then, that was not their great. It was a great fight, just not a great performance. So it's hard not to pick Karol Rosa here. Again, I've never picked against Pannie. I can literally prove I've never picked her to lose a fight. I've picked her in all her UFC fights for my detriment after a while. But I just can't pick her here. I can't pick her with the form she's been in lately, and against a fighter like Rosa, who is not a really favorable matchup for Pannie. I gotta go Karol Rosa. So I would love to pick Pannie again, like I always do. I do like Pannie. I think she's a decent fighter. She just hasn't proved me right in a while. So I'm gonna go Karol Rosa by decision. I think she's the better fighter, and I think we're gonna get a fun fight. If Rosa wants it to be a fun fight, really, if she wants to just have an easy night, she shoots takedowns and gets them for 15 minutes. So, but I think we're gonna get a pretty decent fight here. I'm maybe not 5 of the night, but still probably a decent fight. And I'm gonna go Karol Rosa by decision. So, nothing more to say. Good fight, best fight of the prelims by a mile. And now we go to our featured prelim, a terrible fight. Well, a decent fight between terrible fighters. As in our featured prelim, we head to bantamweight for the first time tonight. One of 2 fights in the bantamweight division. As we have to end the prelims, Charalampos, the ferocious Grigoriou versus Toshiomi, silent finisher Kazama. I get this matchmaking. I don't love it, but I do get it. It's not a great fight, like fighter-wise. Both these guys are complete jokes. But I see why the UFC did book this. I don't think it should be this high on the card, but I do get it. It's probably gonna end in a finish. It probably won't go very long, so I do get it. So at least I understand this booking a little bit, not where it's booked, or again, I don't even think either of these two should even be in the UFC, especially at least one of them, but at least we're probably going to get our first finisher. At least I'm going to predict a finisher, so yeah. I probably won't waste a lot of time here, so let's just talk about our first can. Charalampos Grigoriou. Grigoriou in the UFC is 0-1, coming out Contender Series, where he got a quick knockout. And then his UFC debut earlier in the year, he got completely fraud-checked by Chad Anhelinger. He just got exposed. He has no cardio, bad ground game, bad fight IQ. He's terrible. Like, he trains with Sterling and Marab, etc., and he has not taken anything from him. He's not learned any ground game from him, any cardio from him. His striking for the first minute or 2 is decent. He has good power in his hands. He gasses too quickly to actually fucking use it seems. So, like, he's not good, and I think the UFC's kind of handing him an easy win here, because he might be one of the worst bantamweights on the roster. He might actually be fighting the worst bantamweight on the roster, so he's just not great. From what I see, again, Chad Anhelinger. You got taken to school by Chad Anhelinger. Like, clearly beat by Anhelinger. That's not good, bro. You gotta do better than that. That's why you're getting a complete layup here. So, let's see if he can capitalize. If you lose this, you're getting cut. Like, I think you should get cut, because Kazama, bro, come on. You can't even be shit enough to lose to Kazama. Come on. To talk about said Kazama, let's talk about him. Kazama in the UFC is 0-2, coming off the road to UFC, where he got a contract for some reason, after getting knocked out by Runya Nakamura in 33 seconds in the finale, in the finals of the bantamweight side of that year's bracket. And so already he shouldn't even be in the UFC, because you lost the finals. Why did he get a contract? And then he turns around a couple months later, fights Garrett Armfield, and gets fucking annihilated. Made Garrett Armfield look like goddamn Jose Aldo, and this guy's terrible. Like, I can't put it in much simpler terms. Kazama was a fucking awful fighter. He blocks punches with his chin. Like, he does not block. He has no head movement. I guess he has a ground game. He won't fucking use it. He's terrible. And he has no chin. He's gonna get finished again here in the first round. He's not a good fighter. Simple as that. He's honestly probably maybe the worst bantamweight on the roster, unless I'm forgetting someone. Like, even off the top of my head, like, Brian Kelleher in 2024 is probably better than Kazama. Cody Gibson's better. Fucking, like, Ricky Torcios. Just, I'm trying to think of the bottom of the barrel of bantamweight. And, like, Kazama's worse. Like, he blocks punches with his fucking chin. That's literally the arm. Go watch the Armfield fight. He just eats punches. He never blocks. He never shoots. He just gets annihilated for 4 minutes by Garrett Armfield, who's a fine fighter. But come on, dude. You gotta fucking show something. In 2 UFC fights, you've shown you can get knocked out really well. That's not a plus. So, this is his last chance. If he wants to stay in the UFC, he has to win here. It's as simple as that. Can't really put it any other way. He has to win. And is he going to? Probably not. So, how would he even fucking win? I don't even know, to be honest. So, guess we're gonna have to wait and find out. The bands first I have Grigoriou, however you fucking say it, I don't care. Minus 185 to plus 150. I might move him down to minus 170. Like, yeah, he should win, but do you really want to fully trust him, even if he's fighting probably the worst bantamweight on the roster? No. Like, it says a lot when you're fighting Toshiomi Kazama, and I'm not calling you my lock of the night. Like, that says a lot. Kazama's the worst fighter on the card, and you're not the lock and you're fighting him. That says a lot, so... Either way, Grigoriou should get an easy win here. Should knock Kazama out in the first round. He's a better striker than Armfield. He has more power than Armfield, so he should be able to get him out there early. Kazama's best path of winning is surviving and letting Grigoriou gas out, but Kazama doesn't even have a good gas tank. And then ground game wise, this dude trains a fucking... I hope he finally took some notes from Marab and Sterling, you fucking moron. You can only fucking hope. I doubt it, but you can only hope, I guess. So, I don't know. I'm gonna go Charalampos by knockout in the first. You should be able to crack Kazama's weak-ass jaw like Armfield and Rinya. Yeah, I just thought about it. Kazama got knocked out by a wrestler and a fucking guy who's not even that great at who's an okay striker. Dude, Grigoriou, you better flatline this clown. So, give me Charalampos by knockout in the first. Confident, not as much as I wish I could be, but Kazama, you should be able to beat this clown, so do it. Nothing else to say. Grigoriou by knockout in the first, our first finish of the night, and probably one of very few. So yeah, not very much to say. So those are the prelims. Are they good? No. The Rosa fight's the best one. This probably won't be great. This probably won't be great. This is going to be terrible if it goes the way most predicted. And at least this is going to end in a finish. Knock on fucking wood. So, their Rosa fight should be good, though. If it's a striking match, that could easily be a banger. So, let's see if it is. Not very much else to say about prelims. Let's get into we got 5 more fights. Are they better? A little bit, actually. A little bit. Still not great. Couple names. Every fight has a name in it, at least. Too bad. Some of them for some of them, they're the only fucking name in it, so... Let's just get into the main card. 5 fights down, 5 to go. Main card time. Let's go. We begin and we head back to the women's bantamweight division for our main card opener in a fight that is maybe better on paper, but I think fight-wise the Kianzad fight will be better. As in our main card opener in the women's bantamweight division, we have Yana, Foxy, Santos versus Chelsea, Chandler. Not a great fight. excitement-wise, but this might not be the worst fight in the world, so... Let's get into our main card opener. I don't love this as a main card opener. I always think you should start with a good fight to open a main card, but this ain't terrible, so... could be worse, could be better. Let's just talk about Yana Santos to begin the main card. Yana in UFC is 4-5. How is she still here? Her 4 wins are Lena Landsberg, Marion Renault, Julia Starenko, and Katlyn Vieira. Her 5 losses are Chris Cyborg, Aspen Ladd, Irene Aldana, Holly Holm, and Karol Rosa. Yeah, she is not a good fighter. She never has been. I think even if you look at her wins, like, not very good. Super can. How the fuck did you win that fight in hindsight? Like, she's on a 3-fight losing streak. I don't even know how she's still in the UFC, to be honest. Like, if you want to say she's lost to good fighters, Irene and Rosa, I agree, but Holly Holm, come on. Like, I thought they would have cut her for sure, so she can go join Thiago Santos in PFO, but I guess they're going to hold on to her a little longer. She's not good. She got signed. Like, I'll give her this, that she did kind of get screwed over in her debut, getting Chris Cyborg in a title fight to begin her career in the UFC, but, like, she's not good anyway. Like, even if she got a normal UFC career, she probably would have been cut even sooner. I feel like they've just kind of been nicer to her since her debut was a title fight, pay-per-view main event against Cyborg. So, she's just not good, though. She's just not good, though. She's never impressed me. She's never been exciting. Like, she's never impressed me. The simplest way I could put it. She's always been a boring fighter who's never been that good. Now she is very old. I know 34, but I swear it seems like she's older. I thought she was like 38. I'm not gonna lie to you. Take that for what you will. But, she's just boring, not good. I don't know. I really don't know. She's never been a finisher. 4 decisions in the UFC. Most of her fights go to decision. I don't know. I just really don't got much else I can really add. She's just not good. Simple as that, man. I can't add much else. It's Yana Santos, formerly Kunishkaya. Hopefully after this she can finally go join Thiago in PFO. I would say she can go rematch Cyborg, but it's a little late now since Cyborg's going to retire soon, so... whatever. To talk about her opponent, Chelsea Chandler, a fighter who gets no respect, literally. Which I get it, but at the same time, I think kind of silly. Chandler in the UFC is 2-1. Her 2 wins are Julia Starenko. I fucked that up. Julia Starenko and Josie Nunez, and her 1 loss is Norma Dumont. We all know that Norma Dumont fight. She got rocked, ran away, etc., etc. But if you take away that fucking running meme, I think like Chandler would actually get a little bit of respect. She is good. That's the thing. Chandler is actually a pretty decent fighter for women's bantamweight standards. She's not bad. Like, she's exciting. She's very powerful. She's fucking ginormous. No shocker, she missed bantamweight. But that fucking running meme has fucking kind of put a fork in her career, man. It's making everyone just think she's a joke, when actually she's not bad. Like, in her 2 UFC wins, she smashed Starenko, which I know is not an impressive win, but still. And she was the first fighter to beat Josie Nunez as a giant underdog, which I predicted. Yeah, she missed weight, but besides that, fuck, she was the first fighter to beat Josie Nunez when people were still high on Josie Nunez for some reason, even though she was never that good. And then if you look at her 1 loss to Norma Dumont's one of the best fighters in the fucking division. It's a fucking crime she's so lowly ranked still. Like, fuck, I think Dumont deserves the title shot more than fucking Pena, Harrison, fucking Vieira. Like, Dumont's one. I would say Norma Dumont could easily be the most underrated fighter in the UFC. She's really good. Is she exciting? Fine, I'll give you that. She's probably not the most exciting. She's actually really good. Until for Chandler to fight Dumont in her 2nd UFC fight and lose, are you that upset about it? Like, fuck. Like, who has beat Norma Dumont in the UFC? Megan Anderson, which was Norma's debut. And I think Macy Chasson are the only 2 fighters to beat her in the UFC. So, like, what the fuck? Norma Dumont's really good. I feel like we're, like, yeah, is the running thing really embarrassing? Yeah, that's kind of like, you shouldn't be running away from your opponent like that. But shit happens. what do you want to do? She's still a very young fighter in her career. Why? She's only had, this is her 8th fight. Oh no, my bad. 9th fight. I can't fucking count. So I don't know. I think Chandler gets a lot of disrespect for no reason. Once again, she's not terrible. So is she gonna be a champion? No, I won't lie to you. But is she a bad fighter? No. I think she's better than a lot of the fighters in a women's bantamweight division. I think she's better than a good amount of people ranked above her. So we'll see if she proves me right again here, because she proved me right against Josie Nunez when she was an underdog. Let's see if she does it again here. The betting odds for this fight have Yana, Kunishkaya, Santos, whatever, at -125 to +105. I have no idea how. Like, when I first, at the beginning of the week, I always look at the card and the betting odds. When I saw this, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I thought I was missing something. Like, Chelsea Chandler should be like -150. I'm like, Yana Santos is the much older fighter. I know age-wise, not really, but in fight age, she's much older. She's on a 3-fight skid where she's looked terrible. So I just really don't get these betting odds. I think these are some of the weirdest betting odds that I've seen in a hot minute. Like, usually the betting odds are, like, even if I think they're a little off, they're a little off. But, like, they're not. They're just completely off here. I'm just not sure what they're seeing. Like, if they're literally just going off that fucking running meme. I swear to God, because if you've watched their last couple fights, like if you watch Yana's last 3 fights and Chandler's only 3 fights in UFC, there's no way you can say Yana Kunishkaya should be the favorite here. Like, Chandler has looked way better. So, like, I just don't get it. I don't get it, and I would have Chandler the favorite. It's a rare time I actually think the underdog should be the favorite. So I'd have chosen Chandler like -150. I think she's a better fighter in 2024, and probably just overall, to be honest. I just think she's a better fighter, and I'm happy even the betting on the Tapology agrees with me on this one. Like, I just don't get what they're saying. How can you look at her last 3 fights? She's not won in 4 years almost, and Chandler just won 4 months ago, looking pretty decent against a pretty tough Josie Nunez, and say, yeah, Yana's the favorite. I don't get it. I just really don't get it. And I'm just a little, I usually I don't really overreact to betting odds, but again, when I saw these at the beginning of the week, I was like, what? So I'm going with Chelsea Chandler. I just really don't know how you can pick Yana on a 3-fight losing streak, looking terrible, 34 years old, very, very washed, if she was even good to begin with, against a young up-and-comer who's been looking way better than Yana lately. You gotta go Chelsea Chandler, I feel. So that's the little pass I'm gonna go. Give me Chelsea Chandler by decision. I don't think she gets to finish. Yana is tough. I think the only people to finish her are Irene, Cyborg, maybe someone else, I don't remember. So I don't think Chandler will finish her. Ground and pound, I doubt it. Submission, unlikely. So I'm just gonna go Chelsea Chandler decision. Maybe the early round is tough. I'm trying to think. Do I think the early round's gonna be tough, do I think the later rounds are gonna be tough? I don't think Chandler's gas tank's that bad, and Yana's ain't great either. So I don't know. I'm gonna go Chelsea Chandler. I think she'll just be able to be the better fighter, and I think she'll get the win. So give me Chelsea Chandler by decision. She'll probably lose a round. It might even be a little bit of a close fight, but I think by the end of it, we'll have a clear winner, and I think it's going to be Chelsea Chandler. So that's my pick by decision. See if the betting odds are right, let's see if the betting odds are right, or with RX right. Usually RX is not right, so we never know. After that, we head to our second fight of the main card, heading back to bantamweight for a fight that is weird, but this is our first short notice replacement of the card, first of, I believe, 2 back-to-back. And in our second fight of the night of the main card, we head back to bantamweight for a fight between Chris El Guapo Gutierrez versus Quang Bang Lee. Awesome fucking nickname. Yeah, Lee is stepping in on short notice for Javed Bacharat, who pulled out, I think around Monday, I believe. like Sunday or Monday, so that kind of sucks. That would have been a more interesting fight than this, but at least Gutierrez stayed on the card, and now he's fighting Quang Lee. So, see how this goes. Of course, we'll start with Chris Gutierrez. Gutierrez in the UFC is 8-3-1. His 8 wins, or his best wins, are Vince Morales, Andre Ewell, Felipe Colares, Dana Bagarel, Frankie Edgar, and Alencar Lee. His 3 losses are Raoni Barcelos, Pedro Munoz, and Song Yadong, and he had a draw with Cody Durden. He's only lost to the best of the best. Like, Barcelos in 2018 was really fucking good, plus that was his debut, I'm guessing, on short notice. Pedro Munoz, he kind of just didn't even fight there. Like, in that fight, he barely even fought. It was a pretty terrible fight. Like, Pedro Munoz sucks. Gutierrez barely fought. So, I barely even count that. And Song Yadong, one of the best fighters in the fucking division, so. And he won all 5 rounds with him in a main event, so. And besides that, he's shown he's able to beat the, like, lower tier guys like fucking Frankie Edgar in 2022, for tired him no less. Fucking Alencar Lee, Dana Bagarel. So he's shown that he's not gonna be able to beat these topper level guys like Barcelos and Song, but he's able to beat your Alencar Lees and Dana Bagarel, your unranked guys. So, and I think that's where he is. Like, as a fighter, like, do I think he's really a top 15 level fighter? Not really. Like, he's decent, but do I, like, especially for how good bantamweight is at the moment, do I really think he's on the same tier of even, like, the lower ranked guys, like Johnson Martinez, Kyler Phillips, Mario Bautista? No, I don't. Monto Jackson, I don't. But I think he's on the tier of your, like, current day Raoni Barcelos. Who's another name? Adrian Yanez. Like, those guys who are good, but are they ranked caliber? We're pushing it, so. Yeah, Gutierrez is good, but he's never gonna be one of those top tier guys who can, like, be in a top 10, fight for a belt, etc. He's gonna be a guy who can win some fights, and usually looks pretty good when he does. But he's never gonna get that, like, statement win, so. He's still good. He's only 33 years old. He's still got a lot left in the tank. We know his skill set. He's one of the best kickers in the division. Good striking, good cardio. Has a great team at Factor X. He's good. So, but we know he has a level, and he's pretty much hit his ceiling at this point, I think. So, yeah. To talk about his opponent, Quang Lee. Quang, of course, making his UFC debut. On short notice, he was gonna fight on Contender Series next month, but now he's fighting Chris Gutierrez, which is a little bit of an upgrade and a lot harder. I've never heard of this dude before, no idea if he's good or bad. From what I've seen no clips of him. What I see is he's, I guess, well-rounded. He can get knockouts, he can get submissions and decisions. Not really seeing any impressive records. 6-1, 6-3, 6-3. Okay, I guess he's not a nice little streak of decent fighters. But besides that, like, made his pro debut in 2021, so not very long. It's only his 9th fight. Maybe the guy's good in a couple years, but at 32 years old, only 9 fights in, making a short-nosed debut against Chris Gutierrez. I don't know if this is gonna go good for him. Like, how would he even win? He would have to be like fucking Marab. Just have unlimited cardio and be able to take Gutierrez down round in, round out. And I just don't think he's gonna be able to do that. I've never seen him fight, so maybe I'm wrong. But I have my doubts that he's gonna be the type to just wrestle fucked Gutierrez for 15 minutes, because I don't think who has. Like, Gutierrez never been wrestle fucked, and I don't think Quang Lee is gonna be the first guy to do it, so, yeah. There's no betting odds on Tapology, but I think Gutierrez is like minus 500 when I looked earlier, which sounds about right. If Lee is not that good, then yeah, Gutierrez could easily be minus 600. But if Quang Lee is like kind of decent, which I've not really heard anyone hype him up, so I guess he's probably not decent, then I'm guessing. But if he is decent, even if he's decent, how do you really think he wins this fight? Do you think he's gonna knock out Gutierrez? No. Do you think he's gonna wrestle fuck Gutierrez? Probably not. Do you think he's going to win a decision? No. his best chance of winning is wrestle fucking him and locking in a quick submission, which I just don't think is going to happen. So I think he's going to probably get his takedown stuff, get his legs chewed up, and probably get beaten up for 15 minutes. Maybe he gets finished. Who knows? Gutierrez is not really a prime finisher. But I just really don't think this fight's going to go good for Quang. Like, respect for stepping in on short notice and saving Gutierrez on the card. But do I think this is going to go good for Quang? No. So, give me Chris Gutierrez by decision. I just really don't see this going very well for Quang. Maybe he's that guy. Maybe he's Felipe Lima, Chris Padilla, Jordan Vucenic, a guy who's just ready to perform on short notice and look good. But do I think he's going to be one of those guys? No. So, give me Chris Gutierrez by decision. I don't think Quang's that guy. Maybe he's good. Maybe I'm not even saying like he sucked. He could be good. Is he good enough to beat Chris Gutierrez on short notice? We'll have to wait and see. I don't think so. Most people don't think so. But give me Chris Gutierrez by decision. Never know though. We've seen a lot of crazy things happen this year. Never know. After that, we head to our third fight of the main card, heading to welterweight for the one and only time tonight, as we have another short notice replacement fight, which I'll talk about in a second. As we have in our third fight of the main card, Danny, left hand to God, Barlow versus Nikolay Veretennikov. Another short notice replacement. Veretennikov is stepping in for... Who the fuck is he stepping in for? Euros Medic. Fuck, that would have been a great fight. So, a little bit of a downgrade from Euros Medic, and at least we still got Danny Barlow on the card. Thank God, because Danny Barlow is great. I'm very excited for this fight, because Barlow should have another highlight, and another short notice replacement. So, let's see. Maybe he's the one to strike gold. We'll have to wait and see. So, let's start this fight off with talking about Danny Barlow. Danny in the UFC is 1-0, coming out of Contender Series. In his UFC debut, he looked amazing against Josh Quinlan, where he just dominated him from bell to bell, getting a nice third-round knockout, and he made a statement. This guy's good. Barlow's really fucking good. Undefeated, very young, only 29. He has good power in his hands. We've not really seen his ground game yet. I can't remember seeing his ground game, so that's definitely a worry, but I don't think we're really going to have to worry about that here. But, yeah, a really good prospect in the welterweight division. I'm excited to see more of him fighting, because, again, he is very good. He destroyed Josh Quinlan, who I know Quinlan's not a great fighter, but, like, he beat Quinlan in Quinlan's fight, a fucking war. So that's kind of impressive, and he, like that, he just seems to be a really good prospect. Good striker, good power, good fight IQ, good cardio. The only thing is his ground game. We've not really seen that tested yet, and again, I highly doubt we will. So, not very much to say about it. Dude who's 1-0, looking to be a great prospect in the murderer's row that is the welterweight division. That's the only bad thing I can really say. He is in welterweight right now, which for hyped up prospects is kind of busy with Mike Morales, Renat, Brian Battle, all these really fucking, and then in the top of the rankings you got Shavkat, JDM. So you got a lot of fucking young talented dudes. Maybe Barlow's gonna join them sooner than later. So he still has to prove he is on tier of those Renat and Brian Battle guys, but maybe he is, maybe he ain't. I think we're gonna see another really good showing here from him. So yeah, not very much else to say. To talk about his opponent, Nikolay Veretennikov. I'm gonna by the recap, I'll be able to say that perfectly, but right now it's not easy. Of course, this is Nikolay's UFC debut. He was on Contender Series a couple years ago, and he did fight. Funny enough, I brought him up. Michael Morales, where he did lose. Nothing to be ashamed of there. Michael Morales is one of the best guys in that division, I feel. I'm happy he's finally booked for another fight, and he is going to get into rankings finally. But, yeah, to get Michael Morales on a Contender Series is kind of fucked up. And then, since he's went on a 3-fight winning streak, beating nobodies, but, you know, what do you really want him to do? And now he's finally got the call to the UFC. Not getting a very easy matchup, Danny Barlow. So, it seems like him and the UFC are not fucking... He's not having a lot of good luck. Michael Morales and fucking Danny Barlow. he's not having easy fights, but see, maybe he's the fucking Felipe Lima of this card. Again, I'm gonna say I doubt it. Never know. He's 34 years old. Again, stepping on short notice. When was his last fight? A couple months ago, so he's not been out of action that long. He does get knockouts, 9 wins by knockout, 1 submission, 2 decisions. So, yeah, maybe he's the unexpected fucking new hype, like, short notice guy of the card. So, it's either him or, him or Quang could both take that crown, or it could be neither. So, they both have really tough fights. I think this is... since Barlow is still so since we really don't even know the full skill set of Barlow yet, I guess I would say this is an easier fight than Chris Gutierrez, but let's be honest, are Gutierrez or Barlow gonna lose? No, so yeah, not very much to say. What could this dude do to win this fight? Wrestle? Kind of the same thing as Gutierrez, but who knows if Barlow's ground game's even shitty. So only one way to find out. Let's see if Nikolay figures that out. The betting answer fight have Danny Barlow minus 280 to plus 230. I would have Barlow minus 300. I have him as my lock of the night. I think he's the most confident pick. You could, like, it's between him, Gutierrez probably could be in there, Karl Williams, Chelsea Chandler I could even say could be in there. I'm gonna go with Barlow. Like, I think kid's red hot right now, back-to-back knockout wins, getting a short notice replacement for Euros Medic, so ginormous step down. I think the kid's good, man. 29 years old. I think he's gonna send another man to God, so I'm gonna go Danny Barlow by knockout in first, my lock of the night. Again, couldn't Nikolay just use his ground game, or use a ground game? I don't know if he's even that good of a ground fighter, but could he use that and beat fucking Barlow? Sure, probably good. We never know. That could happen. Do I think he's gonna do that? No, I don't think he has the skill set to beat Barlow on short notice. But you never know. We've seen crazier shit in the past. Again, Felipe Lima, Chris Padilla, Jordan Fusenich, fucking Bernardo Sopai. Those are just short notice guys this year. So we've seen crazier shit happen. Let's see if another short notice guy can pull the upset of upsets. But I don't think it's gonna happen. And I'm gonna go Danny Barlow by knockout in the first as my lock of the night. After that, we head to our co-main event of the evening. A really fun fight in the featherweight division. I'm happy this guy's finally getting his co-main spot, since he was meant to have a co-main with Danny Ige a month ago, but that did get pulled. This one, the guy he's fighting did have a co-main with Danny Ige. But yeah, this should be a fun co-main. Not the co-main that was expected. I don't remember what the co-main was meant to be. I'm going to look in a second. But this is not a bad co-main. As in our co-main event of the evening, we had to featherweight for a fight between Chepe Machine Gun Mariscal versus Damon the Leech Jackson. I believe this is the co-main because we lost... Oh no, this was the co-main originally. I thought we lost... Oh no, it was meant to be Gutierrez and Javid. My bad. So they just moved Gutierrez down and Chepe up. Yeah. I think it's probably the best co-main you can have on this card out of the fights you have. So make do with what you have, and we got a decent co-main here. Again, I'm happy Chepe is getting the co-main spot. He did have one with Danny Ige booked, but Ige stepped in for Diego Lopez, as we all know. I kind of got scrapped, but he still gets a co-main a little later in the year, but got it nonetheless. So, enough about that. Let's talk about Mariscal. Chepe in the UFC is 3-0. His 3 wins are Trevor Peek, Jack Jenkins, and Morgan Charriere. Really should be 2-1. He lost that Charriere fight. Really bad decision, but still 2-1. And, like, this dude has fought a murderer's fucking row. Trevor Peek, who was super hyped up at that time, was one of the most hyped up prospects in the UFC. Jack Jenkins gave him his first L as a big underdog. I called that one, by the way, bitches. And Morgan Charriere, who, even if you think he lost to him, he still gave Charriere a hell of a fight. So, Chepe's good, man. Like, I say the same thing of Chepe every time. He's good. We've seen him fight, like, even before he got into UFC, he's fought a bunch of UFC guys. Bryce Mitchell, Joanne Brito, Youssef Zalal, who's on the fucking card, Steve Garcia, Sean Soriano. He's fought a bunch of UFC guys already. Now he's in the UFC and he's doing good. Is this like Greg Gillespie? He fought fucking Greg Gillespie, for fuck's sake. Remember that guy? I don't. So, Chepe is really good. Like, he's just fought a murderer's row and, like, he's 3-0. That's super impressive. He's been the underdog in all 3 of his fights also, which is funny that he's won all 3. So, he's good, man. I can't really say much else. He's good. He's a good prospect. He's looking like the prospect killer at featherweight. And now he's fighting a veteran, so see how it goes, man. He's good. He's really just found his hot streak. And we'll see if it continues. Only 31 years old. Very talented fighter. See how far he can go in the UFC and as he's getting his first co-main spot. And that co-main is against the veteran Damon Jackson. Damon in UFC is 6-4, 1-1. His wins are Mirsan Bektik, crazy debut. Charles Rosa, Kamala Kirk, Dan Argueta, Pat Sabatini, and Alexander Hernandez. His losses are Ilia Topuria, and Dan Ige and Billy Q. Did I say 4? Oh, so he had one before the UFC. Oh, he's one of those guys who had a fight before. He fought Yancy Medeiros in 2014. I did not know that. And he has a... Let's see, where is his fucking draw and all that bullshit? He had a no contest with Ronnie Jason and a draw with that guy. Okay, I don't even remember seeing this before. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, Damon, we know we're getting with Damon at this point, a dude with really weak striking and a really weak chin, but his ground game's really good. He has good heart. Cardio's pretty good. He's a decent fighter. But we've kind of seen, like, he's getting older, 36 years old. He is fading. Not been doing a lot, not been doing great lately. Like, did take 2 L's back to back, yes, to Ige and Billy Q, but still. Dan Argueta, he beat in a really tough fight. Pat Sabatini, that was his best one of his career, probably, just for story behind it. And then he's coming off a win in his last fight against Alexander Hernandez, which that was a fine fight, if I remember. So he's an up and down fighter, and like he can win fights, but he's never gonna like. It's kind of the same thing I said with someone else earlier on the card. Like I think it was Gutierrez. He's a good fighter, but he's never gonna beat one of those top guys like Billy Q, like Dan Ige, like Ilia Topuria, for fuck's sake. So like, and he beat a couple prospects like Dan Argueta and Pat Sabatini, but that was a short-nosed Argueta and a kind of Pat Sabatini who's kind of been exposed since as kind of a whatever fighter. So maybe he exposes another prospect in Chepe, but I just don't think he does. Like, his best way of doing that is ground game, and Chepe has a decent ground game. So he better just hope Chepe really gasses badly, and I just don't know if he will. Because on the feet, Chepe is way better. Power-wise, Chepe. Chin-wise, Chepe. Like, the only thing Damon has over him is experience and maybe cardio. So, but again, he is 36 years old, and we all know his chin is very shaky as he's been KO'd twice in the UFC and 4 times in his career. So, we'll see what happens. Gonna be an interesting fight, and good co-main. We'll see if Damon can pull another upset. Who knows? The betting answers I have Chepe Mariscal minus 245 to plus 200. I don't know. I think Chepe should be the favorite. I don't know if he should be minus 245. I'd have him probably minus 210. Like, he should be the favorite, but I don't know, almost minus 250. He's had shaky performances in the UFC, like the Charriere fight, which he should have lost, but I do get him being a minus 200 favorite. He's looked way better than Jackson lately. He's winning, beating better names than Jackson. Just compare their last couple wins. Charriere, Jenkins, and Peak to Hernandez, Sabatini, and Argueta. I think one kind of gets the advantage there a little bit more than the other. So I could see Damon getting the win here, using his wrestling experience, etc., to get the win, but I just don't think he will. I think Chepe's better in 2024 as a fighter. I think he's just in his fucking bag right now. He's like just on all cylinders, fighting amazingly, And it's just hard to not pick Chepe here, dude, who's again on fire. In fact, I think he's beat better fighters than Damon. I think even if you think he beat winning or losing against Charrier, on paper he beat him, and I think Charrier is as good as Damon Jackson. Jack Jenkins is a decent fighter, but he's definitely the weakest one, and Trevor Peek's a good fighter. Crazy and not very technical, but he is good. Compared to Pat Sabatini, who just a wrestler, Dan Argueta, who's had a really weird career, and Alexander Hernandez, who's a joke. So I don't know. A lot of things are pointing to Chepe. I think the hardest thing to pick in this fight is how does Chepe win. I could see a knockout. I could see him cracking that really weak chin of Damon, or I could just see Damon surviving and making it into a decision. So I'm leaning more towards decision. Again, like, Chepe does have the power to knock out Damon, who doesn't. But I think I'm going to lean by decision. I might change it, you never know. But I think I'm going to go Chepe Mariscal by decision. I don't think he gets a finish. I just don't think he gets a finish. I'm just having a problem visualizing him knocking out Damon. Not because I think it's impossible, just because I'm not really visualizing it. So I'm just going to stick with my guns. And right now I'm going to go decision. But I could change, so. But right now I'm going to go Chepe Mariscal by decision. I think he's a better fighter in 2024. Gonna get his first co-main win. And see how far this kid can go. Another win, he's in the rank. If he wins this, one more fight, he's in the rankings. So let's see what he can do, man. Give me Chepe Mariscal by decision. And now it's time for lame event of the evening, the rematch no one asked for, and the UFC gave us it anyway, let alone as a fucking main event. As our main event of the evening, a rematch in the heavyweight division, again, that no one wanted or asked for, because who the fuck cares to watch this garbage again? As we have Marcin Tybura versus Sergey Polar Bear Spivak, or with a C or a K. I don't know which one it is at this point. Could be either fucking one. But yeah, the rematch no one wanted from right before the pandemic. It sucked the first time. It's probably gonna suck the second time. I can't wait. Oh boy, shitty heavyweight main event. You're like, I don't love it. At least with Derek Lewis or fucking Tybura, you know finish is likely early. With this shit, it could easily go 25 boring minutes, so whatever. Not excited, but let's get this over with. Not really gonna break down both guys too much. Let's get into Tybura. I think we know Tybura by now. He's very old, at 38 years old, 12-7 in the UFC. His most notable wins are Andrei Arlovsky, Stefan Struve, Sergey Spivak, Ben Rothwell, Walt Harris, Romanov, Blagoy, Tai Tuivasa, and his losses are Tim Johnson, Fabricio Verdum, Derek Lewis, Shamil, Sakai, Volkov, Aspinall. He's a pretty fucking average fighter in the heavyweight division. He's never been able to get over the hump, but he's never been really beaten by these shittier fighters. Outside Tim Johnson, which whatever, and I guess like these two cans, but like his other losses were Doom, Derek Lewis, Volkov, Aspinall, all very understandable L's that make sense. He's just not a great fighter. He's very slow, not very powerful anymore, not really got many finishes lately. Good ground fighter. That's pretty much his bread and butter, is just ground and pound. He's just not great. Just not a really good fighter. Very old, as I said, 38 years old, but heavyweight you can fight till you're 60. And, yeah, just getting his third main event in a row for whatever reason. He's just not very good. Not very good. Yeah, never been an exciting fighter, and probably never will be, so not very much to say about Tybura and that fucked haircut. To talk about his opponent, Sergey Spivak. Sergey in the UFC is 7-4. He's only lost 4 times. His wins are Tai Tuivasa, Carlos Felipe, Jared Vanderaa, Alexei Olenek, Greg Hardy, Augusto Sakai, and Derek Lewis. His 4 losses are Walt Harris, Marcin Tybura, Tom Aspinall, and Cyril Gane. So he's never really beaten anyone that good. Like, I've never even noticed. Like, he has 7 wins outside Derek Lewis, who is Derek Lewis, he's never really beaten anyone that good. I guess Tai Tuivasa as well, but like, look at this win sheet right here. Like, bro, you beat some bum ass fight. You didn't look good in half of these fights. Like, you look terrible here. So, and in his losses, he's lost to fine fighters. Walt Harris was good in 2019. Marcin Tybura, we're gonna talk about that in a second. Tom and Gone. He's a terrible fighter. Like, honestly, Spivak's honestly terrible. The only reason he's won fights is just because he's one of the rare ground fighters at heavyweight. He gets you to the ground, grounds and pounds you, sometimes a submission. That's what he does. It's too bad he kind of sucks at doing that. Like, he has no cardio. His striking has never been amazing. Like, his fight IQ ain't great. He has really no heart. Like, he's a very easy fighter to bully. It's just not good. That's the thing. He's just not a good fighter. Like, at least Tybura has shown glimpses of it being decent. He has had a couple decent wins. Spivak just ain't good. He just really ain't good, man. Like, he's looked very just like, I don't even want to say underwhelming. That makes it sound like he should be good. He just looked lame in the UFC. Like, when your biggest one in the UFC is Derek Lewis, who clearly did not give a shit. It's like, he's not exciting. He's not good. He's just lame. So, this is his third main event also in a row. So it's just like, what the fuck? So, just low-level heavyweight, and these are top-ranked guys, and it's low-level heavyweight. That's how shit the division is. So, don't really got much else to say. The betting experts have Spivak minus 120 to plus 110. I think Spivak's a little bigger of a favorite now. I think he's about minus 170. How? He lost the first fight. If we're going off who has gotten better, neither. Tybura is probably the exact same fighter. Spivak probably got worse. Like, I don't know how Spivak's the favorite here. I think this goes pretty much like the first fight. If I remember correctly, the first fight, Tybura is pretty much just laying on him, which is probably what's going to happen here. Spivak's probably going to fucking have a little bit of success early, and then he's going to get taken down and fucked on for fucking however long it takes for Tybura to either get a decision or a finish. So, it's just a terrible main event, a terrible fight, a terrible rematch, pointless rematch, and no one wants to watch this shit. It's a low-level heavyweight. That's why we call it low-level heavyweight, because it sucks. It's just not entertaining. It's not entertaining. It's the simplest way I could fucking put it. It's not entertaining. It's not gonna be an entertaining fight. It's lame. It's fucking lame. It's the best way I can describe it, so I think it probably goes a lot like the first fight, which again was a couple years ago. And again, I'm pretty sure Tybura just laid on Spivak for 15 minutes. So, bad thing. This is 5. This got 10 more minutes to it. So great. I'm going Marcin Tybura. I think he wins again. Kind of the same way he did the first time. I do think he'll get a finish this time. I don't see this going 25 minutes. If it does, someone might actually have a heart attack. And, just a bad fight, man. Just a terrible main event, terrible fight. Pointless main event, pointless rematch. So, whatever. Only thing left to say is, how do I think Tybura wins? Or, I think he's going to get a TKO, a ground and pound TKO. I don't think he gets a submission. Spivak's never been submitted. I don't think Tybura is going to be the one to do it. I think he's going to get a finish where it's kind of late in the fight, 3rd, 4th, 5th round. Spivak's dead tired. Tybura's kind of tired, but he has a little more juice. I can see him getting a takedown, a little bit of ground and pound. It's kind of like Derek Brunson, Edmund Shabazian. Like in round 3, he takes him down. He's so beat up and tired, it's over in like 2 punches. I just don't think Spivak, like, if we're just going skill for skill, who's the better striker? Probably Tybura. Who's better on the ground? Probably Spivak, but who has better cardio? Tybura. Like, who has more heart? Tybura. Like, who's a smarter fighter? Tybura. So, I'm going to go Marcin Tybura. I'm going to go by TKO I'm feeling the 4th. I don't know why, I'm feeling the 4th. I think it's going to be, like, maybe Spivak will even take round 1, but then I think round 2 and 3 will start turning the other way, and by round 4, Spivak will pretty much be done. And I think Tybura will just need a little more, and he'll get to finish. So, I'm going to go Marcin Tybura by TKO in the 4th. Gonna be a boring fight. Trust me, it's not gonna be an exciting fight. I hope it is. Trust me, I never want to be right when I say a fight's gonna be shitty, but I'm not gonna lie to you and say a fight's gonna be good if I don't or think it's gonna be good. So, I think this fight's gonna suck. It's probably gonna suck, but hopefully we at least get a finish, not a 25 minutes fat guy hug fest. And that's why I'm going with Marcin Tybura by TKO in the 4th. I just don't see it going for 25 minutes. So, I just can't imagine Sergey Spivak going 25 minutes with this shit. Dude, he was dead tired by round 2 against Rogan. What the fuck is he gonna look like by round 4 against Marcin Tybura, who's kind of good at gassing you out? So, I'm on Tybura by TKO in the 4th to end a really shitty card and a really pointless rematch. All I gotta say. Besides, boom. Those are my picks. To go over them one more time. Stephanie Luciano by decision, Youssef Zalal by decision, Karl Williams by decision, Rosa by decision, Charalampos, Grigoriou by knockout in the 1st, Chelsea Chandler by decision, Chris Gutierrez by decision, Danny Barlow, my lock of the night, by knockout in the 1st, Chepe Mariscal by decision, and Marcin Tybura by TKO in the 4th. Bang. Those are my picks. Yeah, a lot of decisions. Outside of Chepe, I really don't think any more of these fights can really be finishes. Maybe Gutierrez, I doubt it. So, prelims are probably gonna be ass. The main card, like, I think we're gonna be like, if you honestly think what I think will happen, I think we're gonna be leaving this card really sinking. Barlow was great. Chepe was good. Maybe one of these fights impressed. Like, this was probably a nice knockout. And maybe Gutierrez had a good performance. This will suck again. This will suck. Suck. This will either be really good or really lame. Probably not exciting either way, and this will suck. So, I'm not excited. I don't know who would be. But, at least it's fights. Not great ones. At least it's not starting super late either. So, since it's not, I'll probably get to recap out on time on Sunday. At least I'll record it on Saturday night. I don't know if I'll get it out on Sunday 1 p.m., but I'll try. Not like you give a shit about the recap of this card anyway. Who cares? But either way, the next time you hear from me is Sunday for a recap of this shit. Hopefully in the beginning of the video I'm saying this wasn't shit, but it probably is. Not gonna be that lucky, so yeah, we're not lucky anymore. So whatever. Enough of me rambling. I know you want to end this video, I want to end this video, and I'm going to end this video by saying, I hope you enjoyed it. I can't think of anything else to say besides, please like, comment, subscribe, 100 subs goal by the end of the year, and as always, at least make sure I didn't miss anything to say. No, I got everything I can think of. I doubt there's anything important left to say anyway about this garbage. As always, somehow I made an hour and a half video out of this. RX out. Good vibes only and always.